absolutely fucking fantastic call. I think the official title for the call was Kasper's Scaling Secrets, going from 10 to 100,000 a month in 12 months ish. So yeah, like I mentioned just before I started recording, Kasper has been in AV for quite a bit now. Can't remember when you guys originally joined, but it has been a fucking crazy journey that they've been on. They've done like a lot of really cool stuff. Obviously, like crazy growth as well. I think when you guys joined, you were around 10,000 a month, and now I think the last time when we talked, you were well above 120. So yeah, it's gonna be a great call. I already saw the slides that Kasper is gonna go over and the presentation that he's gonna run and just the structure of the call. So it's gonna be really fucking valuable stuff. Obviously, they have like had to go through a lot of like big obstacles, figure out a lot of like really creative solutions, and yeah, just like really valuable call. So how this call is gonna go over in a bit, I'm gonna give the fucking, I don't know, the floor to Kasper, and he's gonna go over and do his thing. He has like a great presentation prepared, and then at least at the end of the call, we're gonna do a bit of a Q&A section where we're able to ask questions from Kasper and these things, and he might also ask for questions or ask for insights during the presentation. Truly, I want to emphasize that this is like an amazing time to ask anything that you might have in mind. So don't be shy. Don't save those things. Like Rob always says, there's no dumb questions. There's just dumb people, and there's really nothing you can do about that. So just ask whatever you might have in mind when the time comes. Highly recommend you to pay attention. Fucking take notes. Have your ears and eyes and whatever else open. And yeah, I think that's it. Fucking let's get ready to rumble. Kasper, you can take it away.
Let's rock and roll. Thank you, Lev, for the nice introduction. And first of all, quite overwhelming seeing so many faces, new faces here, a lot of old faces as well. Pretty cool to be here. Now, I was thinking actually when I was walking here to my home and this office, like I think it was about 18 months ago when I joined AV. And I was like, at some point telling Levi that I really believe that I will be the biggest case study and I will make this happen. And now how things have changed in the last 18 months, we feel like we're all in this bubble, in the agency bubble. We have so much we think about in the daily basis, but then you sometimes just zoom out and think like, oh, wow, what has happened in the last 18 months? And I was thinking before this call, like sometimes I feel like, well, can I actually help you guys? I still have that feeling like, am I as competent that I can actually help all of you guys? But I prepared kind of like a presentation for all of you so we can go into the details that I know. The only way that I can help you guys is speaking about the facts that I actually know myself. I'm not your guy when it comes to Clay. I'm not your guy when it comes to operation, infrastructure, so on and so forth. But I can only speak on my perspective of things, of building Leadsify the last, close to 2 years now. But yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna share my screen for you guys. We're gonna be going through kind of each stage that I personally went through. I feel like a lot of you guys are in different stages of your journey. So my plan is to kind of help all of you here. And we're gonna be testing where you guys are at currently. But give me a moment. One of the first times using Zoom. I don't know about you guys, but I'm Team Google. So this is sometimes a bit of hassle. But I believe you guys can see my screen right now. Am I correct? You can.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So the scaling secret sounds very dramatic. There's a lot of secrets that I have here to give to you guys, but it's pretty simple actually. We're going to be going through different stages, and the agenda for this meeting here is, first of all, I don't know how many of you guys know who am I. So giving you some details regarding that. And then I believe there's so many different phases of the agent's journey until you hit 100K per month, which is kind of the beginning phase, the honeymoon phase, the this shit actually works phase, where you are making money. This is kind of becoming fun. It's kind of becoming a game. And then kind of the boring phase, which is the team building, the operations, at least for me, the boring phase, and something that is building an actual business. And then we went through, I don't know how many of you guys were in AV during the past like spring and summer, but we went through this whole like schizo scale, the way I like to call it. We just scaled as fast as possible. within a matter of a few months, and it was getting quite hectic. And that's something we've been through recently. And now the plan is to go kind of all of these phases, as well as we all dreaming of the so-called agency paradise that I will be speaking about later on, as well as some key lessons and at the end, the Q&A. But to give you some information in the beginning, I don't know how many of you guys know who I am and what I have done, and maybe seen some of my YouTube videos or content from some platforms. But basically, September 2022, I started Leadsify. I was in college in the US. I somehow stumbled on Levi's videos. I saw the thumbnail of the Finnish guy with the mustache, always told the story. And somehow I clicked on these videos and I was like, it seems like he's making money. So there's something going on there. Got interested, started learning from him, started learning from his free YouTube videos, and started exploring the opportunity of creating a business and escaping college, which was where I was in. Quickly became the idea of Leadsify and just replicating everything that Levi said. And that's pretty simple. And I believe that after I dropped out of college and I went all in on creating this lead generation business model, which took me a long time to just go all in on that. It took me like 57 days or something to hit my first 10K per month. And that was all just for the fact that I went all in. After that, I was a one-man army for a while. I partnered up with the co-founder. We scaled this to 100K per month last summer within the last 12 months or so. Then I actually ended up parting ways with the co-founder and now being a CEO, which is weird to call myself. I wouldn't still call myself a CEO, but I feel like I've gone through this transition from a young guy trying to go from college and dropping out of college to, oh, I have a team. Oh, I'm running an agency. Oh, I'm actually making money. Oh, it's actually 6 figures to, okay, now I have a team to manage. I got to pay bills, be a CEO and manage a team. So that's kind of the journeys I've been to the last few years, just to give you some information about us, or me. But the first stage, I believe, is kind of the beginning. Now, my question would be to all of you guys is, how many of you guys, just give me like a reaction or something. I can't really see all of you, but give me like a reaction or something if you're in this phase where you are below 10K per month. Okay, so a lot of you are past 10K per month. That's great to see. But a lot of you are still in this phase. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Based on how many of you are in these different stages, I'm going to spend time on them as well. But the beginning stages, I believe it's all about skill stacking and mental games. It's not about, it's just a lot about just putting in the action. I feel like there's in the early stages, you have so many distractions, you have so many ideas, you have so many things that you could do. But if you just put your head down and focus on stacking skills, you're going to be breaking out of this season pretty fast, as well as all of you have almost done, or at least maturity, which is amazing to see. But just to give you some information, I believe it's a lot about the offer in the beginning, just crafting an offer that simply works. B2B lead generation is one of the easiest things you can sell right now. And it was 2 years ago, and it was probably 20 years ago, because every single business will forever want new leads, because they will forever want new clients. It will never go away. It's a good business model to be in. So all of you, if you have shiny object syndrome and you're thinking of, should I do this, should I do that? You have picked the right vehicle. But then going to positioning. When I'm looking at the lead generation market right now, I feel like a lot of people are making the mistake where they are positioning. A lot of you are simply just doing what everyone else is doing. And that's why it's hard to scale past certain stages of this journey, because I don't know about you guys, but after being in some months, hundreds of meetings, hundreds of discovery calls, and probably over thousands by now, very often I hear this one sentence from all the prospects. This is, they hate lead generation agencies. They hate cold email agencies. They've had bad experiences with cold email agencies. They can't stand them. Like, it's a fucking hatred regarding cold email agencies. But then I see a lot of agencies still beginning this agency journey and positioning themselves as a cold email agency that promises 15 calls in the next 30 days or a refund. That's something we always try to stay away from, just because it didn't resonate at all. We tried in the beginning, just didn't get that much results. And quickly we pivoted somewhere a little bit away from it. trying to find, like I've put here on caps, find your edge, find something unique about yourself, find something unique about your positioning that makes it a little bit better than your competition. Because if you're like everyone else, which the market seems to hate, which is called the email agencies promising the moon, most likely it will not bite and it will not find the right market that you're looking for. Lead flow, all of you guys should be in this phase just learning how to do all of these, because then you're just repeating this for clients. Very simple stuff. No need to go over this too much. You need to just learn how to create an offer, position yourself, build a website, start getting lead flow, write copy, sales process, onboarding, results, case studies, and just repeat. Regarding this, since the beginning, when I go back to my days, I remember speaking about this to my ex-co-founder all the time, which was, if, to be brutally honest with you guys, if I'm thinking like, okay, let's say Emil from here, who has been in this game for a long time, I used to think sometimes like, if Emil is doing positioning like this, I'm going to do it 10% better. Like having these little mini competitions with all of you guys, where I'm like, okay, if you guys are tweaking sales process just on the Google Slides, I'm going to make it a little bit fancier. If you guys don't have social media, I'm going to have social media, and just finding every single part of the process here in the beginning where I can have 10% more than you guys. I was obsessed regarding just doing everything slightly better and obsessing over every single tiny detail. Even if I'm not going to actually show it right now, but later on, but if whenever someone signs a contract with right now with us, they will have a fancy animation that comes through their screen where there's like a ninja hopping on their screen, like welcome to Leadsify, just a redirection. I was obsessing over all of these details, and I feel like you guys should do that as well, because you don't want to be a commoditized cold email agency. Also, don't wait for perfection. It will never come. For a long time, I spent months in this phase where I was like, I'm going to create a business. It's going to be Leadsify. It's going to be so fancy. It's going to be the best. And I was just waiting for the perfect moment. But at some point, I was like, I'm not going to be waiting anymore. I'm going to do it right the fuck now. And after that, it took me 57 days to go through this phase here. So don't spend too much time on the logo or the fancy website or anything like that. Just get leads, have meetings, close meetings, collect cash. You're past this phase then. Is that clear? Any questions for the guys who are in this stage before we move forward? Is there any questions you would like to ask right now to get some clarifications on? Not that I can see of. Okay, then we move. And if I can't see your questions, it's because I can only see a few faces here. I don't know how to operate Zoom. So stop me, yell at me, say something. Don't be afraid, just ask. I will do my best. My main mission for this 1 hour is to give you value. So if I can do that, ask me questions. Then I believe the next stage. How many of you guys are in this stage where you're below 20K per month still, but you've signed a few clients? Okay, so quite a bit. Maybe, I don't know exactly, maybe half. What are you all? So I'm very curious to hear. I was thinking about this, but for me, this was all mental. And at least for myself, I don't know if you guys have seen this visual here, which is kind of the Dunning-Kruger effect of how much confidence and competence you actually have. But I felt like I was, during this stage. I flew through 10K per month, and all of a sudden I felt like the king. I'm making money. I'm making my dreams happen. I dropped out of college. I was feeling on top of the world right here. And I felt like I knew it all. I felt like I cracked it. I'm making money. I was letting everyone know, like, hey, I'm making 7.5K per month. And you start to kind of have those mistakes. And that was a mistake, because you can really fight through this phase quickly if you want to. I believe this is all mental on what are you focusing right now. A lot of you guys seem to be in this phase. I don't know exactly why. Maybe you guys feel like you're stuck here, or if you are stuck here, maybe it's just a natural season that you're in right now. But I believe this phase is all mental, where if you just focus on the right things, it should compound and you should fight through this phase. You've clearly found something that works. You've clearly gone through something that you are able to sign clients, you're able to sign retainers, you're able to sign setup fees. Something is clicking, but you now just need to identify what it is. what it is that is working the most. What is the ICP that is working with you? What is the offer that is resonating? What is the number one thing that just works right now? If you would have to identify the number one thing that just bites when you speak to prospects, what are they buying? Just double down on that. I've also noticed that a lot of people here, not here in particular, but in the agency phase, they quite often stay here. They never go through 20K per month. It's like, I made it to 10K per month. That was my initial goal. And then they stay there, or they fly through this in a month or maybe in a few months. And I do really believe that it's all about focus and where you're setting up your time, because you have a lot of time. At this stage, you shouldn't be having any side hustles or work or anything else. You should be full time. I think it's really about just what you're spending your time on, auditing your time, seeing that all of your time should be spent on revenue generating activities. And just a good reminder for you guys, this is something that I made mistakes about, was having these revenue targets. That, hey, I'm going to make 40K by Christmas Eve. Doesn't really work. You got to be tracking inputs. You got to be tracking daily inputs. What are you doing? Like reverse engineer the goal. Let's say you want to make 40K per month. How many calls do you need to close X amount of clients that would result to 40K? Reverse engineer these numbers, and then have daily input goals, where you just know that if I do X amount of, let's say, cold call dials, or send X amount of emails per month, or have X amount of meetings, or whatever it may be, you know you're going to be on track for your goals. Because these kind of goals that, hey, magically I'm going to hit 500K per month next summer, most likely won't happen if you're not tracking how you're going to be hitting that and the progress you need for that. Also, at this stage, I know it's easy for you guys to get very deep into, let's say you signed a few clients, and now all of a sudden you have to deal with the clients, and then you don't have time for internal lead gen. I've seen this happen a few times where people sign a few clients and then they completely turn off the faucet for lead gen and signing new clients, because they feel like they need to get good results for the clients. And that is true. You need to get good results for the clients that you have. But still, what I did here was delegating clients and fulfillment, so I could focus on sales and lead generation and getting more deals. Because otherwise, this is almost like a freelancer trap, the way I see it, that it's very comfortable to be here. You get clients, you get money, you're making more money than most people are in terms of top line revenue. You do have expenses, but then you also realize that you're a slave to potentially 5 clients, because you got to sign them, you got to do your lead gen, you got to do your admin, you got to do your taxes, you got to do the work for your clients, all of that stuff. So this is a very steep stage to be in, and I would be smart about it and not stick here for too long. I would try my best to find guys who you could delegate this to, or then just be very careful with your focus. Maybe find a closer if you're not a sales guy yourself, and just book meetings for your closer and keep him closing the deals. But a lot of people end up here and they do both. They do everything still by themselves. They don't have delegated anything. And that's why you potentially get stuck here for a long time. So yeah, don't turn off the faucet for internal lead generation, signing new clients, because otherwise you're gonna get stuck here. But maybe I also made some mistakes in the past. I went through I think it's called like horizontal scaling rather than the vertical scaling. So who knows which way is the best, but I'll give an open floor and give you questions, because I saw that there's a lot of people right now in this honeymoon phase where you're just making money, but at the same time, you're kind of stuck. So if you guys have any questions that I'm not really seeing right now, and maybe something's on your mind, questions, anything, fire away.
You guys can just raise your hand on Zoom if you have any questions.
Please go for it.
Can I?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Kasper, for giving this session. As you mentioned in the last point, you should all be in internal lead gen since you don't have anything else to do. So I'm in the honeymoon phase, and most of my time goes into fulfillment, operations and stuff like that. So when you say you should be doing 90 to 95% of your time in like lead gen for yourself, like what exactly is your schedule split, wherein you are also able to focus on your fulfillment while also focusing on your lead gen, because some of my clients are in Europe, some of them are in US, some of them are in UK. So time zones is, you know, quite challenging.
Yeah, I get that. And maybe we can disregard because the sentence is, yeah, that you have anything else to do on 90 to 95%. It's not that black and white. But I think at that stage, I would either decide if I will be vertically scaling and just focusing on clients and trying to get as much revenue share from them, and that way make more revenue and go to 20K per month. But for me, it felt easier and more simpler to sign more clients, build a team around the fulfillment, have people in the fulfillment, copywriters, domain setup guys handling all of that stuff. So I don't need to touch this. So for myself, for a long time, this was my focus, 90 to 95%, either booking meetings or having the meetings. That way, there was clear focus for the guys, and I'm a big believer in focus, where if some guy only focuses on copy and clay and getting results for clients, eventually he will get results. Eventually he will be a master of that. And if one guy just focuses on sales and getting new clients for yourself, or the front end side of things, which was I was the front end guy, then I will become better at it. But if I'm focusing on both at the same time, at least personally, I feel like it will be very hard to get results for both. If I'm at the same time trying to grow my own company as well as my clients' companies, trying to manage it all, it's very easy to get stuck here and just not really go where you want to go. I don't know if this answers your question at all, but please let me know if you need some clarifications.
So when you say you are find people who can do fulfillment, so
Yeah.
is it like you're finding guys for GTM, or is it like finding guys for operations?
Operations was one of the first things that we delegated because I'm not the guy for it. I can't do that at all. So at least have someone who handles the inbox, who does the domain setups, creates the email accounts. Don't touch that. At least I'm always speaking from my perspective. So if you're disagreeing with me, please trust your own gut. But that's something I did. And then for the fulfillment, if you're good enough and you can maybe create cold email copy at scale, very much automate it and use AI for it a lot, then go for it. But I went through the phase of delegating to human labor and someone else creating the cold email copy than me. So pretty much all of the fulfillment I haven't touched in a long time. Did that answer at all?
Yes, it did. Thanks.
Good. Please, Van, go for it.
Hey man, greetings from Cyprus. So the question is, because I am really, really also in this honeymoon phase here, and it's not as smooth as a honeymoon would be. Although I have, the other guys who know me, I have shared my problems, and I am in a pretty good state at the moment. The past like a month or so. What I want to ask is because I have been there hiring an employee, losing an employee, hiring a freelancer, then a freelancer is totally messing around, not paying much attention, leaving, then getting a more expensive one, then getting, what is like the best take here? Because since we're talking about a revenue range here, we know pretty much how much we're making, right? And what is the suggestion here? Is it like to get an in-house guy, because they will require a lot of training? Most of the people that they come to work in a marketing agency, they're pretty much like mainstream social media and simple stuff they know, right? They will need a lot of training. Or shall I just go with two freelancers, give them a couple of hours, see how they work? What is the best choice here? Thank you very much.
Yes, great question again. And just to give you all of you that I'm always speaking from my perspective. I don't know the answers. Very often I feel like I've done the mistakes. I don't know the best answers, and I'm always figuring it out. But as of right now, I would not trust freelancers. I would not just go with freelancers. It's an easy way to get someone to do the work for you, but it's not the best way for the long term because you don't know how reliable they are, and they're only there to collect the paycheck. And they're trying to get as many clients as possible. So most likely the attention to detail is not going to be that high. We went in-house, we hired everyone in-house, and we put KPIs on incentivizing results. So for example, if we bring in a client, we give this client to a copywriter, we're going to give them X% of the revenue from the client, which is already quite incentivizing for the copywriter to get results. But we are going to give a percentage bonus if they hit X goal. So that's therefore they have the motivation that they know that, okay, I'm going to make almost on some occasions double the money or 40% more if I get X amount of clients, X amount of meetings or positive replies or whatever the KPI may be for your team member. And obviously bring them in-house, make them a team member, make them feel like they're a team member. I'm a big believer in team. And yeah, I don't know if this once again answers your question at all. This is what I did.
Well, it does. That was exactly what I needed. So it's better to invest some more time in terms of training them and establishing the SOPs and everything, so they know how to do and keep doing it long term rather than getting a freelancer. And another question is, how many is the number? Again, we know that we are in the same range, so pretty much will not be much of a difference. It's like 1 or 2, is like 3 to 5. What is the thing here? That was the last question.
Yes, that's a good one as well, because we've spent so much time on this the last few months, because we noticed that if we just keep scaling by getting more clients and getting more team members, it will be a big operation, a lot of clients, a lot of team members. So we went back to the drawing board and came back to this question of how can we operational, like how many clients can operational our team handle, how many they can right now, and how can we increase that? So trying to find a way where instead of a copywriter who wants to spend a lot of time on creating the go-to-market strategies and the cold email copy, who would be usually able to spend, let's say, time on 5 clients in total, and that's the cap. They can't go over that. Now we spent some time on how they can scale that to 15 clients, but they only work on cold email copy and ICP, and that's it. They don't have to do anything else. Lead scrape, someone else does it. Domain setup, someone else does it. Impact manager, someone else does it. So they can scale it. I don't know the exact number. What is the capacity? Right now for our copywriters, we used to have up to 4 to 5 cold email copywriters. Right now we're scaling it down and increasing the capacity per copywriter, which would be, I think, copywriters the main man getting the results. So 10 to 15 capacity. Levi, shoot.
Yeah, so I have a question on this. I'm also personally interested on this, but I think it's also like something that a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people like thinking about this. I think first time when it really starts coming up is in the honeymoon phase, but also pretty relevant long term. And I think it plays really well into your strengths. So I think you guys and you especially are really, really good in like finding the right people, building like a team of like absolute killers. I know you guys have like really fucking sick team members, and even from the beginning stages of where you started really build the Leadsify concept of the Nordic growth partner agency, you've always been able to like bring in a lot of really good people. But a lot of people, especially at this honeymoon phase of 5 to 20K a month, they know that, okay, I should try to bring in like really good people, like A players, long-term thinkers, but they get stopped by the limiting belief of, I can't afford these people. I can't pay 5,000 a month for XYZ role or position. So how do you approach, or do you have any like strategies or any like mental models on how to actually attract these great people, even if you can't pay them maybe what they are like quote unquote worth on just their hourly time? And how are you able to like set up these kind of partnerships at this stage?
That's something I've thought about quite often, because quite often I feel like, how have I managed to build a team of over 10 people that are somehow aboard on this mission? But when I come back to that question, I have 2 answers. First is personal branding. Just pretty much all of my hires have like somehow known about me. So instead of me going to Upwork, Fiverr, whatever they may be, trying to find people from Facebook groups, which it was in the beginning, once I started just shit posting on Twitter and like posting something somewhere, people started to kind of recognize me, and they came to me instead of me finding them. And most of my hires have come through communities, Twitter, Instagram, probably somehow on YouTube, just because they see it and email me. So that plays a massive part. I know that's probably not the answer most people are looking for because it's a hard one. But I feel like just putting yourself out there is going to help massively in the long run. And it has helped me massively in the long run. And then the other thing, which is just being the founder that inspires, being the founder that people want to join and be a part of, be a part of this mission. I feel like since the day one, maybe Levi even saw it when I sent the first Loom about this massive Nordic mission, and you mentioned something about like, this is a little bit maybe too much for you to even think about right now. But having that like massive grand vision of, hey, I'm gonna make this happen with or without you. Like, this is a massive train that you're joining right now. Like, this train is going to the fucking moon right now. And if they see a founder that is so committed, so all in, and just on this train, they kind of want to join a board and see where this train is going. And maybe that helps a little bit. Maybe that's something that people are attracted to, but that's my thesis on the way I see it, that people, rather than being a one-man army or just working for another company, they want to join this cool, fancy train that is going somewhere and be a part of it. So maybe those two things.
Yeah, that's super fire. Before we move on to the next slide, I just want to add on to that. I think that's probably like a big thing that has helped with that, because I think you've always had like this really massive vision on like what you're building. And I remember like even like in the early stages, you used to have these hoodies with, I can't remember the exact verbatim what it said, but there's like building the #1 Scandinavian growth partner agent or something along the line. So it's for sure easier for these A players to join that mission because they know like where you're heading and having these big goals and visions where you're going.
Yep. Emil, fire.
Yo, so I don't know how related it is to the honeymoon phase specifically, but before or as you entered the schizo scaling period, what were the biggest thing you thought was true or you thought you knew, but turns out now you think of way differently?
That's a good one. I feel like we're going to be touching base on that a little bit later on, but I feel like it's maybe the mindsets. I feel like a lot of this business stuff for me has been mindset and mental, not that much of learning certain aspects of the business, even though it's that. But maybe for the schizo scale phase, I thought that with just brute force, it's sustainable. That this, like, if we just fucking ram, we will make this and scale this. And I was almost like delusionally going with the train to the moon, even though trains don't fly. So that was maybe the, I don't know, misconception that I had. And I didn't prepare because we are going to be going through, maybe this is a natural switch to the next slide, which is, well, it's actually not, there's one more, but I didn't build these things in place before the schizo scale phase. I didn't build a good CRM. We didn't master the sales tech, the marketing tech. We didn't build good KPIs, good reporting. The team didn't have clear roles and responsibilities. And we just entered this one massive schizo scale phase where we are getting 13 clients a month. We have like 12 team members managing all of that. And all of a sudden we have 50 accounts to manage, clients. And yeah, I'm yapping right now, but maybe the misconception of just thinking that the trains can fly.
I mean, that checks out.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to move into the next slide because I noticed that we have 20 minutes left. So we have some time for questions as well. And maybe let's go again and see how many people are actually in this phase right now, 20 to 40K per month. So I know how much time should I spend here. Give me a reaction, whatever.
Also, just to quickly add on to this, Kasper, I don't know what your own schedule looks like, but after this, we only have like the general steam room call scheduled in. So if you go over time, it's no biggie.
Okay.
So.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. If there's only three people here that are currently in this phase, I believe these are, once again, from my perspective, but I believe here that this is a very soft and good spot where you finally realize that you're actually making money. You're actually making way more money than any other people are. usually in the most normal 9 to 5. I bubbled in like this 20 to 50K per month for solid probably 4 to 6 months before I could escape it. I feel like there's a lot of distractions that come during the stage, shiny objects, opportunities, bad clients, good clients. And I found myself getting easily distracted and just not focusing on what works, what doesn't work. We didn't really spend time at all on like building an actual business. I was just like satisfied here, which is weird because I always promised myself that I would never get satisfied. But somehow I ended up being satisfied with 20 to 40K per month, clocking in that profit after month, and just settling there because we have a nice team. Everything is kind of fun. We're getting clients. We're making money. This is pretty cool. I can say that I'm making 30K per month. Like this is nice. But it's also where you kind of, if we go back to the visual here, you kind of start to realize slowly that like here, that I don't actually know anything at all. Like this, I need to build an actual business because at this stage, you're also like only a few clients away from going back to pretty low numbers. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I think this is the time where you start to really think about building a team. You can't manage it all. You need to kind of move yourself away from certain roles and responsibilities, have a clear focus on building an organization, building reporting, knowing your numbers, having a good CRM in place. For example, for us, we booked a lot of meetings internally, but we didn't capture all of them. We didn't have a good ecosystem in place to capture all the demand that we were having. So once again, as since the beginning for me, I think it's a lot about mental, having the right focus on what you want to accomplish. And during this phase, I got settled, I got satisfied and just settled a little bit. And this was good enough for me. I didn't feel like I need anything more than this. I didn't have the same pain and crave to go into the next level. And I also lacked, I was maybe arrogant in a way that I didn't really study how to build good KPIs, build good reporting, have good operations in place for the next stage. I was just like, okay, well, this is, I don't know how to go next stage. This is nice. That's it. But once again, if you guys can give me some questions, I can try my best to answer these because this is kind of this weird middle bubble area for me through my journey. Levi, go ahead.
Yeah, so we just basically went probably about 40K like today. And how do you like, the main thing with us now is kind of like we have this dopamine trap of like closing new deals, and we'd have like someone's table now that we could just like take on and go past 50K. But then it's like it's so hard to realize because we were so long stuck in like 10K per month, and then we scale into past 40K in like a couple of months after that. And then it's just, now it's so hard to shift off from like that past, like struggling in 10K, then you crack it, you scale fast, but you still have that same mindset that you had at 10K of like, shit, like everything is going to fall, we're going to be broke again. And it's just like, we need to just close new clients to satisfy the past fear of like, shit, we're not closing anybody.
I've been there. I've definitely been there. And I definitely resonate with this because at first it's you're at the 10K per month, everything is breaking, everything is kind of like, oh, I made it, but at the same time, this kind of sucks. This is very hard to do. One client away from being poor and broke, and everything is just like, you're just above water. And here you are just kind of like settled in. It's kind of this nice area that you're in. And you maybe have the dopamine of like, this is it. This is now nice and smooth and getting better. But yeah, what was the question again? What was the clear question here?
So we still like, or like, at least like me, because I handle the sales, I still have like the same mindset from like 10K that you're scared to like break everything down.
You still do have that. Okay.
Yeah.
I get that. I maybe used to have that a little bit as well, but I don't know if it's gonna ever stop because I've never gotten rid of it. I still have it. I still have the same thing. I'm at sales right now. Our closer left, and I'm back in sales. And even at these numbers, I'm still like, fuck, we don't have enough money. I'm still like never satisfied. So maybe you have that same gene. I believe it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, where you're just never satisfied. And at any money point, every top line revenue, bottom line profit, whatever it may be, I've never been satisfied. So I don't know if you can If you find a way to get rid of it, or anyone here, please let me know, because I don't know the answer to that one. So sorry, can't help you there.
For us.
All right,
So, hey
questions.
Kasper, how are you doing?
Good. What about yourself?
Doing just fine. So, recently we passed the 20K mark and we came close to 30K, but we just actually signed a whale client that was paying us close to like 14 grand, and we realized we didn't have the infrastructure to even deliver that because we had no team members. We just had one virtual assistant helping us out, and we took on that big client. And we didn't even have a reliable email provider. We just signed up on Superwave, but it is not the best as of now. So
Okay.
we faced that issue that you were just mentioning, that we are just one client away from again going back to the early 10,000s and all. And while entering this phase of 20 to 40K, what is the first thing we should focus on to, I would say, delegate to someone else?
What have you delegated so far?
So far, our onboarding process is delegated, which is basically lead scraping, lead verification, and domain purchasing. That's the only thing that is delegated.
Is inbox management delegated?
No. I think we are using Rene's system, so it is more or less automated.
Okay. How much automated is it? Does it still need manual inputs?
So it's like we just need to mark the lead interested or not. It automatically updates the client and also adds it to the lead tracker. So it doesn't need much of manual inputs. We just need to gaze through them and mark them interested or not interested.
Okay. So where is most of your time being spent then?
I would say setting up the emails and basically making sure that the email deliverability is optimum.
Okay, so most of your time would be spent in setting up the email copy
Yep.
and getting results. Okay. Do you have a? I think I saw some time ago that you have a business partner, or
Yep.
am I incorrect?
Yeah, that's Emmanuel. You're correct.
Okay, so what is the split between you guys?
So we just don't focus on email. We also do SMS marketing. I take care of
Okay.
sales, SMS marketing, and client relationships. He takes care of email marketing, which is basically I basically focus on lead scraping, but he focuses on email copy and connecting all the email accounts and all. And what do you suggest? What have you seen working the best in terms of email providers like premium inboxes? What are you using?
This is the one thing that I can't answer to you. I actually told this
Yeah.
Levi like an hour ago, like infrastructure, email accounts, DNS settings, like some of you guys know I'm not your guy. I have a guy for it. I think right now we are using, if I had to guess, I think we're using premium inboxes, but I think we're also using Hammer still because they refunded us and are trying to get a case study out of me right now. So we're still using those guys as well, but don't go with them. Stay the fuck away from them.
But yeah, that's definitely.
But
So what do you think
just
should I
to
delegate?
quickly answer to your main question, I think from my perspective, you two guys, I don't know exactly who, but you're spending your time in many different areas. I would have a clear split. One guy focuses on one thing, one guy focuses on the other thing. One guy focuses on the front end of the business, another guy will focus on the back end of the business. That way you can focus on just improving your skill sets, and the other guy can focus on improving their skill sets. This is the lesson that I learned from Levi himself. We implemented this. We were doing with me and Ronnie back in the day, my ex-business partner. We were having this kind of like, I'm going to do this and he's going to do that, and I'm going to do client relationships and all over the place. Then we were just like, hey, I'm here, you're there, and we have a clear split, and we talk occasionally, and we both get better at what we do. That way, my mental bandwidth is not here every single day, and his mental bandwidth is not on sales and other things. So I feel like
Makes sense.
just identifying those clear roles between you and your business partner would be the quickest fix. And then after that, delegating some parts of the business. I don't know exactly where you spend your time, but maybe getting a campaign manager. I don't know.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Thanks a lot. That definitely answers my question.
Good stuff. Okay, I'm gonna keep it moving. Then this is the phase that we spend a lot of time lately. And I'm trying my best to learn these things because I realized that I didn't know any of this stuff. So this is kind of reason that I'm still trying to figure it out. Now, how many of you are right now in like 40 to 70K per month numbers? Any reactions? I saw Emil a little bit there. Anyone else? Okay, well, that's a good thing because you're about to be here very soon if you're not here still yet. So you're probably in the earlier stage and you don't even know, oh, this is too far, but you don't even know what to prepare for because we went through this and we just didn't know our focus. We went through this and then we entered to Schizoscale and it looked like a firefighting team in the business. So that's why you got to prepare with the teams, the operations. And we spent a lot of time on this. I believe the core principles you have heard before already. I know for a fact because I heard them all the time. Delegate, eliminate, automate as much as possible. But mainly just the core themes of this phase is something clearly works. Something is getting your results. If you are retaining clients at all, you're going to be scaling, you're going to be getting more revenue, you're going to increase your prices, you're going to be signing bigger deals, you're going to be increasing your lifetime value. You can push clients for bigger contracts, which we have done since the get-go. We never sign like 1 to 2 month deals. It's always long-term deals, just so we can have a better MRR and sustain that. But you got to find killers. You got to build a team in-house. We've been building departments and direct reports lately. So as at this stage, if you're preparing to scale, not settle, you got to build clear departments and direct reports. That's what we've done in the past. I used to be, especially now, because I'm the only founder as of right now. A lot of people reaching out to me, like you can imagine a team of 12 to 15 every single day asking me, Kasper, what about this? Or Kasper, what about that? Or Kasper, what about this? That's why you have to have direct people managing direct people. So inbox managers only speak to one guy who is managing inbox managers. Inbox manager or copywriters only speak to one guy who is head of fulfillment, and head of fulfillment lets me know. So having these like different organization, like building an actual organization chart, even though it sounds very boring, that's something that I would establish in place as of right now, if you even have a small team or will have a team in the future. Now, I saw a question, at least in AV chat, and I know a lot of people has reached out to me about building a team and how do you pay the team and stuff like that. I'm going to keep it very real and raw here. And the way we do it is giving revenue share. So you would imagine, like Levi asked about limiting beliefs, that how can I pay if I'm making 15K per month? How can I pay 3K per month or 5K per month to my team member? You don't really do that. You don't really give a base. That's something we don't do. But all of our team members make about 3 to 6K per month. And how they make that is we give them a percentage of the total revenue per client they manage. So let's say we bring on a client that pays us 4K retainers. We give X percentage to a role of that client. So that could be a copywriter. Let's just say as a placeholder, it would be 20%. Not the number, but let's say it would be. And then you say that, hey, if you book them with the client, we set a KPI of getting them only 5 meetings per month, which is all they want and would be happy for. If you get them 5 meetings per month, we're going to be giving you 5% on top of that. And then you build a team around this, and you can still calculate your margins, that if you bring on a client at 4K retainer, you potentially make the client sign the tech fees, which we're about to do in the future, or you count them in. You can then calculate your margins that you're making good money per client and delegate the fulfillment. And still your team members will feel like they're making a lot of money, and they are, because they're getting a percentage basically from your company. But yeah, we do compensations based on this and incentivize people based on this. Now I see a question, and go for the question.
Yep. So, as you mentioned about the rev share part, I do the same. I have a guy who is helping me with my operations, and I'm giving him 20% of the revenue. The issue here I see is, if let's say you're scaling and you're having more team members on revenue share, right? So in this case, if you have clients who are on a guarantee or on a risk reversal for a refund, and let's say things go southwest and you have to give a refund, what happens to the team members, revenue share? Because eventually, they need to get paid, right?
Tough question, very tough question. We never give refunds. It's in the contract. We don't give a refund. We do our job. If it doesn't work out, we have to take some accountability in that. Depends on who has made the mistakes, but we don't give refunds. If we were to give a refund, I personally would blame myself. I would give the money back to the client, and I would give money back to my team member, especially if they're a core team member, not a freelancer, and pay them, pay the client, take the loss and move on.
Got it. And when you say you are giving a small percentage, let's say 3% to 5%, I in my case, I am giving 20% of the revenue share. But the issue
For
is
which role?
I would say COO. Like, I haven't designated a
Oh,
role. It's more like he's helping me with my operation. So it can be sales argument, it can be email copies, it can be list building. It's more of the operation side. I haven't delegated the tasks yet, right? So his thing is, he mentioned me that he only work 1 hour a day for like 1 month.
so you're
And
giving right now. You're giving sorry to cut you off, but you're giving 20%, if I understood correctly, of your total revenue from your company to a fractional COO that only works 1 hour a day.
exactly.
So we probably both can see a mistake here.
Totally.
That
That
should
is
be
what
avoided by all costs.
exactly. So now I'm at a condition where either I tell him, hey man, I need, because my thing is, I want to have a culture where I don't work by hours, I work by tasks, right? So
Yeah,
let's say if we have 10 tasks today, then it needs to be done. I don't care if we have 24 hours or not.
yeah, I get that as well. But
So
I think, yeah, go for it. Sorry to cut you off again.
yeah, I mean, so what would you say your perspective? Like, should I go switch back to hours, or should I switch back to tasks?
No, I'm the same. I only want the outputs. I don't like, I really want to see what has been done, not how much hours
Exactly.
have been spent on it. Maybe your COO is just amazing and he gets everything done in 1 hour, but at the same time, you mentioned that you haven't assigned him tasks. So I think you got to go back to the drawing board and identify what task would you give him? Why would you give them to him? How much hours should that be spent on? And how much you should pay revenue share on that, because right now it sounds like a terrible deal in all senses.
Exactly. So that is what he told me. Like, he told me this. So you need to delegate me tasks, and I was like,
Yeah.
I brought you in because I thought you would, bring in inputs. So that's where I'm at a tough condition at. But thanks for your answer, man.
All good. All good. Time is running super quickly. My first time running this, so I'm gonna move a little bit quicker. Main themes here. We can talk about this later on in the questions if you have any clarifications. Dashboards, by the way, know your numbers. For a long time, we were just gut based, like, okay, I should maybe do more of this, but I didn't know exact analytics. So build forms where you get the numbers and then build dashboards on top of those. Okay, so this is what we went through last summer, this fall. Schizoscale chaos. Is there anyone in this revenue range right now? 70 to 100K? Okay. Well, you're about to eventually go here, but if you do the teams and operations good enough, you will be prepared for this. So it doesn't include the word schizo, and it doesn't include the firefighters here. You will just smoothly go through this because you have prepared for this. I didn't. This was a season of chaos that we just embraced. We are going to take this on. We're going to be signing so much demand. We're going to be capturing all of that. We're going to be signing all of them. We're going to be fucking hitting the 100K per month. That was the brute force thinking behind it. We didn't have any of like good enough accountability systems or operations in place to manage all of that. So shit started breaking and it got bad very quickly. But at the same time, it's pretty much audited our whole business. We saw every single flaw. We wrote them down. We see that, okay, this is not good enough. 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 Because if you go back to here or here, you feel like, okay, I maybe know something, things are going well. But here, when you just start scaling fast and you're getting new clients every single month and you can't handle it, that it quickly just exposes your whole business and you see a whole new perspective of the business. At this point, I think it's about learning to dance in the rain, even as cliche as it sounds, but and identifying what is not working, what is working, and taking the lessons head on, as well as removing yourself from the day-to-day functioning of the business. What that means is you shouldn't be in every part of the business. You should be only doing a few things, and you should become more of a CEO. Maybe some of you disagree. I'm also curious to hear what Levi has to say about this, but I felt like I couldn't be the founder who is in all parts of the business doing a lot of other things. I was being the bottleneck. So I had to delegate, eliminate, automate more. And I need to go back to kind of the position where I actually see where the business is going, think more, be more of the macro guy, not the micro guy, and just overview the business. That every single analytics, you know what is happening, you know the metrics, you know the numbers, and you know based on data where you should be going and where you shouldn't be going, and where money is spent and where it shouldn't be spent, and how many meetings we're getting, and how many deals we're getting, and how many clients are satisfied, and so on and so forth. Double or triple down on the inputs, just kind of go full gas pedal mode here, because I think someone made a good tweet about this some time ago, that in your life, there's going to be a few opportunities to have an offer that prints demand. Not a lot of them. There may be 2 to 5 throughout your lifetime that you have an offer in your hands that just prints demand, and you're able to create a 7-figure business out of it. So for me, I was like, okay, full gas pedal mode. We are going all in now and exposing this business and preparing to get whatever is coming from the other side. It wasn't the agency paradise on the other side. It was going back to the operations and teams, because shit started breaking. So you can eventually go into the agency paradise, which is what we're all aiming for potentially. But just a quick check-in, first of all, from Levi. Is it cool if we run a little bit over time, or?
Yeah, 100%. Please do.
And what do you as well? What do you think of this schizo scale? Maybe you have some experience and perspectives that we don't.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. The schizo, it's like, it's always like really easy, like afterwards look at it and be like, oh shit, like if I had just prepared these things, if I had the KPIs, the departments, everything figured out. But at least every single time when I hit like this revenue range, it has been like really fucking messy. And also coming back to what you said about getting rid of the day-to-day operations and being more as a CEO, unless you're in the tactical leadership CEO role in the business. I 100% agree with that. I think at that point, like there's so much volume, like there's so many clients, so many calls, like there's so much shit happening inside the company that you're actually able to have like a fairly big impact with just small strategical decisions. You know, you can't afford to fuck up these, like making one strategic decision and making it wrong, or like making a bad decision is going to be so expensive that you shouldn't. That's where all of your effort almost should be focused on. And then also on the other side of the coin, it's like there's going to be so many things happening inside the company that it would be stupid for you to try to be involved in all of those things, because there's no way you can do all of those things well. You know, it's like for the clients and for the team, etc. It's also way better if you don't try to be involved in everything, because you can hire someone just to focus on that one part, and they're going to be 10 times better than you, even if you are the CEO or the founder of it. So I 100% agree with this. It's like really well said.
Glad you agree, because I feel like exactly the same.
And also, just to add here, I fucking love what you said about learn to dance in the rain. It's like so well put. It's so true.
That's what it is. It's training every single day. Gotta embrace it. But yeah, let's go towards the end where all you guys can ask questions as well. But we began. This is something that I can't really speak about. We hit 100K per month. We're right now, to be completely honest with you guys, we're below it. Not much. We're back in the schizo scale and kind of this, but we haven't gone through like fully monthly recurring revenue over 100K per month, multiple months in a row. And ideally, even though we kind of was here for a little while, I was in a position where I was like, fuck, I made it. Like a little while, I moved here to Italy. I had a closer that was closing bigger deals than I was ever closing. I had everything delegated. I didn't have to do anything other than think. If Johannes would be here, he would love this phrase. I remember from Tallinn. All you got to do is think. But I was in this position. I was like, oh, this is kind of nice actually. And then shit started breaking real fast, and we went back to kind of operations and building the actual team and having an operator in the business fixing stuff and all that stuff. But ideally, I think a lot of us are aiming to go here where you have no touch in fulfillment or minimal, unless you really want to be in there and you feel like you have a passion for clay and stuff like that, which is amazing. I don't. Sales outsourced, operations delegated, net profit margins, good KPI for agencies would be plus 50%. So once again, know your numbers, know your gross profit and your net profit margins. Ideally, you want to aim them for plus 50%. And as a CEO, you start to stare at the dashboard, see the numbers of your business and steer the ship, kind of like Levi was saying, that as you start to be at this stage, one small decision can have a huge impact. So you really got to make those decisions based on actual numbers, because if you just make them based on feeling, it's pretty risky. Sometimes they might hit, but sometimes they might miss. But this is, I feel like I tasted this part a little bit, where you feel like you have true freedom and real profits coming in and you don't do much at all. And you're finally kind of the agency guru. But it goes away quickly if you don't have the systems and operations in place to have sustainable scale. And right now, I feel like I went through this pretty quickly in the beginning. I don't know if you guys relate, but you have this like, oh my God, I'm making money. I'm so much better than all of these young agency guys. We're making 10K per month. Like, I made it. And then you go to here. And I was like, steep 9 to 12 months here. Like, I don't know anything at all. Like, what the fuck? This is so hard to do. Like, I'm actually building a business. What is dashboard? How do I create that? Like, all of these things that you're just learning. And then now I feel like I'm maybe here, like just maybe having a little enlightening moment, that maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel, and ideally going to the place where you're just sustainably scaling the company, and being maybe here and having a killer team in place. But now, just to kind of conclude before we go to the questions, my key lessons from the past few years, if I would have to give something. Number one being, these are not in any particular order. You can see some are bolded, but prioritize yourself over the business. I'm going to speak about that a little bit later. Don't settle in anything. How you do one thing. This is kind of related to number 3. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So just like I said in the beginning, obsess over the micro details. You just want to build the best business in there that will also attract killers because they want to join that mission. But don't settle in anything. Don't settle for client results being bad. Don't settle for an average team. Don't settle for an average agency. Don't settle in anything. Just go all in building the best thing possible. Find your edge and leverage the fuck out of it. Sorry for all this bad grammar that I'm using, but we found things in the business that we saw that this really works. This is our winning angle. This is what clients love. And we just started leveraging that as much as possible. Finding the unique edge that makes your business a little bit more different than your competition. Start personal branding. There's a reason why everyone is saying that. Alex Hormozy, Iman, all these guys, probably Levi as well, had a YouTube video about it. Everyone is saying it, and it makes all the sense because you're attracting the right talent, you're attracting the right clients, you're attracting the right people. And at the end of the day, all of us, we're spamming close to hundreds of thousands of emails to get clients. But imagine when some guy comes to me, like for example, a few weeks ago, one of the biggest TikTok marketing agencies in Finland, founder comes to me that I watched 8 of your YouTube videos, probably the easiest sales process. Because they came to me even though I didn't have to chase them. So start personal branding, bold it, know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, it's very hard to scale. It's very hard to know anything about your business. And I feel like if I would ask any of you right now, what is your net profit margin from last month? It would be very hard for you to know. Some of you at least, or how many meetings did you book, or these kind of numbers, you need to know them. This was my weakness for a long time, now getting better at it. Also, revenue only boosts the ego. Only profit matters. Top line revenue of 100K per month sounds super fancy, but at the end of the day, what is left on top of the table, and what can you actually make yourself? And I repeat, prioritize yourself over the business. This was my mistake for the past 2 years. I was just all in on business, just obsessed, like just tunnel vision. Everything else didn't matter. And now I'm finally kind of accepting that this maybe not the best way to go about it. And just the more I work on myself, the better the business is. The more I spend time on developing myself, it clearly mirrors to the business that we're building. But those are my key lessons. Now I don't know how much time we have. Some questions I wrote down some questions that some people wrote in AV chat. Appreciate that. But yeah, maybe people can begin with something that is right now on top of your mind before I attack these questions on the screen. Peter, go
Yo,
for it.
Kasper, thank you for doing this. I know it's a lot of work to set up a presentation like this, so I appreciate it. I'm curious. I'm also, thinking about my numbers, and I'm just curious, what numbers are you looking at on a monthly basis? Like, what are the core numbers that you look at? I know you just mentioned profit.
Profit is right now the number one that I'm looking at, because I realized that the top line revenue doesn't really matter. So having your P&L every single month, knowing exactly your gross profit margins, your overhead, your marketing, how much you're spending per client, how much is your fulfillment margins per client you're signing. So having a clear price point and actually doing the math on what price point should you pitch to the client. So actually knowing how much you're going to be making, because we used to just like, let's slap a 5K retainer here. Let's do a 2K one on this one. It was just gut feeling. So knowing those numbers, as well as kind of the key metrics of your internal marketing and your internal sales. So how many meetings, for example, how many qualified meetings, how many did show up, how many qualified demos, how many offers sent, how many closed, and then obviously revenue from those. And
are you looking at those month on month, basically like each number compared to last month or compared to this month last year?
Not as of right now. Not as of right now. We don't have those in place, to be completely honest, but that's what we're going to be doing, yes.
Nice.
Seeing the trends.
One last quick question, well, maybe two. You mentioned that you compensated people on your team. Basically, you gave them incentives for performance. Did I hear that you were incentivizing people based on role, like the copywriter was based on, or was getting compensated based on what they were doing?
Yeah, that is correct. But there's two ways to go about it. One, which we're doing right now, is incentivizing a team per client. So for a client, we have an inbox manager, a campaign manager, and a copywriter. This, I believe, they have the same mission. We could have, the other way is to have specific KPIs for all three guys. So inbox manager, time to lead, KPI, for example, or campaign manager, I don't know how many campaigns in total, some sort of a KPI for him specifically, or copywriter, how many campaigns is he launching, how many positive replies. These could be role specific, but I decided, I may be wrong here, but I'm trying out where they work as a team. So campaign manager, inbox manager, and copywriter all have the same KPI. Therefore, they all know if copywriter does his job and I do my job, we're all going to win. So they have this team incentive that if we all do our job, we can all celebrate, we can all get results for the client, and we can all make way more money. I don't know if that's going to be the best way, but that's what we're trying right now.
I like that. Is that a new thing?
Yes, new thing.
Nice. And then the last quick question is, you mentioned a couple of times prioritizing yourself over the business. I'm curious, like, how that manifests for you, or like what that means in practice.
Something that I'm still figuring it out. I haven't mastered at all. For a long time, I felt like I didn't have a personal life. I didn't have anything else in the business. I would go on a date with my girlfriend, and all I could speak about was fucking cold emails. So that was getting a little bit too obsessive. It was just all business. I stopped training out. I stopped training. I stopped caring about my nutrition. I would just order in food at 10 p.m. when I was like, I haven't eaten anything today. It was just obsession, which is good, but also kind of bad. And it manifested into physical issues, as well as mental issues, and just kind of didn't take care of myself, stopped taking care of myself, just went all in, like literally all in. And I feel like if I would have been smart about it and have that same force of all in, but just channel it in a smarter way where I still take care of myself, still prioritize mental health, physical health, my own time, resting sometimes, a good idea. having time with your family, all of this stuff, I feel like it would have compounded way more and I would be in a better position right now. So yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Kasper.
Of course, pleasure. Levi.
Boom. If you have the time, I have one killer question that I think would be really useful for everyone. At least I'm really interested on it. But let me know if you need to run.
No, I have time.
Fire. So I know for a fact, like just from talking to you and all these things, like I know you've gone through like especially the skid show scaling season, like you've gone through like really intense work periods where your calendars like look super fucked. You have like fucking hundreds of calls every single month, crazy work hours, and just a lot of stress. I can imagine there's like a lot of stress, so much new responsibilities, bunch of shit like this. So when you go through a period of that, and you know it's gonna be like a long period, there's like shit's breaking every single time. It's like fucking hard as hell. Feels like there's no end to it. How do you approach those scenarios? How do you cope with that? How do you deal with that? How do you make sure that you don't just fucking crash and burn? Of course, you also mentioned like a few things you could have done better, but now looking back, in what kind of mental space were you on day-to-day basis, or what kind of thoughts were running through your head to pretty much keep you going when going through this like really hard phase?
This is another great one because I have failed here. So I can maybe now reflect and go back into what I have done differently. So I didn't really cope. I didn't really have proper ways to manage all of this stress. I just went like stress maxing for 6 months, pretty much straight in a row. I know what I should have maybe done, which is have some time to meditate, journal, do the healthy habits, do all of this stuff that I used to do before, especially in the beginning. But I just stopped doing all of that and didn't have a stress outlets, didn't have time off, didn't have winding down routines. I was waking up at 2 a.m. thinking about invoices. Like I went fully into this mode, and I started also feeling like I had the mentality behind me, backing me, but physically I couldn't keep doing it like that. And mentally I prepared to this stage where I was like, I'm going to do this. I was very like stoic about it. I had the right mindset in making these things happen and just being numb to feelings. A lot of shit breaking, a lot of different things happening, unsatisfied clients, team member leaving, a lot of shit that some of you especially know what you got to deal with at this stage. And you're just like getting pinged every single day and all the stress coming your way. I didn't have the best ways in coping with all of this. It was just taking it all in and becoming numb, basically, not having any colors in your life. I know it's getting pretty tragic here and it sounds like a mental health yapping, but I just embraced it, didn't feel feelings at all, just went through it. And now I'm starting to kind of realize like, okay, maybe this is not normal. Maybe I should actually do something regarding this and prioritize myself. And yeah, so learning the hard way by going through with it. But maybe this in you guys gives you also like, you can see what I've experienced and can maybe identify that what you could do differently once this happens, and not just embrace and burn out, because I definitely have been feeling very burned out lately, but I'm taking care of it and getting back to my usual prime shape. But yeah, I went through the whole 2-year embracing it all kind of phase. So maybe this helps as well, that even though especially like I felt in the beginning like I'm untouchable, I'm invincible, I'm getting all of this, I'm making all the money, I will never burn out. What is even burnout? I'm not going to burn out. That's not going to touch me. And then you're waking up at 2 a.m. thinking about invoices and just fucking stress maxing to the fullest. But yeah, that's about it. Let's go to another topic.
Thank you. That's a really, really killer answer.
I think I saw someone raising their hand. If you still have a question, go for it.
I think it was Nassim. Nassim, you still got something in mind?
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask. Thank you, Kasper, for the call and the value. I'm really sure that the hardship was not the reason that you succeed finally. But you said in the end, okay, let's go on other topics because it's a difficult topic. So that's why I lowered the hand.
That's what I've been thinking as well. I've been thinking if I should do it, if I would actually do it differently. Because deep in me, I'm like, fuck, I went psycho mode and I got the results. But I don't know if I would have been getting these results if I was smarter about it. I think there's maybe a middle ground. It doesn't have to be black and white. There can be more sustainable ways of channeling this brute force that I had and making it smarter. But I do believe that this weird, never satisfied obsession that I had is the main reason why I'm here. But it's not sustainable.
Because if you made it here is because you just found the campaigns, not because you journaled and you write word on the paper. So yeah. But well done. Thank you for the answer.
Thank you. Ziad, go for it.
What's up, man? Sorry, I'm walking outside to the gym, but I've been listening to you intensely, and something that came to my mind that I wanted to ask you is about dashboards and what you're monitoring and what you can now define as like as that CEO position. What are you building into dashboards, or what kind of dashboards are you looking at that you feel are super important for you to make the best strategic decisions?
Mm-hmm. So that's something that we're right now doing. So it's kind of relevant, but we haven't mastered it fully. But the idea is to have kind of like a CEO dashboard where I open the CEO dashboard, I see all key metrics of the whole company. And within that, there would be sub dashboards where it would be one about marketing, one about sales, one about fulfillment, one about operations. I don't know exactly what metrics we are going to be tracking in all of those. For example, clients, it's going to be a little bit hard to track, but mainly as a CEO, I want to be looking at revenue, expenses, with then categorizing all the expenses into different brackets, profits, sales. All the sales metrics matter a lot. The legion internally matters a lot. So meetings, qualified meetings, qualified discos, show up rates, qualified demos, offers sent, closing rates, revenue from those. That's pretty much marketing and sales. And then just the key financial metrics of the company. I think if we can have all of that in one place, in one click on a page that you open and you see all of those visually beautiful, get a pretty good understanding of the business of where you're at. And then especially pairing that up with trends from the last month and what they have been and so on and so forth. Then you can get a pretty good understanding of where you are going for as a company. But that's coming from me, which is a front-end guy, which is focusing on marketing, sales, and the company's massive vision. So I have yet to figure out what to track for fulfillment and operations.
That's fair. That kind of leads into my next question, which is like, when you're making that decision that you, or I know you're still doing it now, but when you've gotten to that point where you feel like you can make a strategic decision, do you have specific point people for each department that you now are kind of grooming so that you can trust them to make those implementations?
Yes. Simple answer is yes. I do have those specific people in specific departments helping me with the decision making and approving them.
And then how do you track sort of the actual implementation of these decisions? Because something that I'm finding difficulty with my point people is how to kind of hold people accountable over the long term. Because I'll make a strategic decision, and a problem that I have is I feel like it takes a lot to get somebody to implement the decision for their people, and then to like sort of track it. Like what do you put in place to make sure that things actually get done?
Good project management. Make it the one guy that is the department lead, and the responsible for getting that project done. So that project manager, I wouldn't call them a project management, but the department head that you assign that this needs to be done within the next 30 days. This is your project. Assign people to do that. They are responsible for making that happen. And if they can't get the team to perform, and have those tasks in place in a project management software with due dates, milestones, progress reports, then they are not the department head you want to work with, because they are solely responsible. There also needs to be one clear responsible. I think I learned this from Elon Musk some time ago, that if there's 7 people responsible for getting a project done, it's kind of, I don't know who to blame. If there's one guy that knows that this is my fucking job to get this done, you have one guy who needs to get it done, and that's how we do it.
I love that. Yeah, very clear. If you're the head, you're the head for a reason. You're supposed to be the one to get it done.
Exactly.
Uh,
And they got promoted to be that because they exceeded well.
Great. And you don't really, you put it more on them to be the one to decide how it gets done. Like, you're more the conceptual leader, strategic leader, and they are more like, when it comes to the details of this is how it's going to get reported, these are the steps we're going to take, that's on them.
Yep. I would say I'm more of the visionary. Then we have right now an operator in the business that is kind of the COO, makes these happen. And then some of these are getting delegated to department heads. And what was the question again?
It wasn't really a question. It was more like trying to just confirm what you were saying. But I think I'm clear.
Good stuff. James.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, mate. First and foremost, fucking banger of a call. Seriously, lit a big old fire under my ass, mate. So thank you for that. But couple of questions. Firstly, just around your offer. So basically, how did your offer evolve through these different stages of the business? And kind of, I'd just be quite keen to learn, like, what were the kind of the factors that kind of led you to landing on the sort of the next evolution of the offer?
Now, this is an interesting one. I think I wrote this down here because I saw your question in the chat.
Yeah.
We don't have a clear offer. We never had. And a lot of people speak about offers. But I think right now in the market, if you have a very strong Hormozy type offer, it can do more harm than good. My thesis, I don't know if I can base this on data that I can show you right now, but that's just how I feel about it. Maybe it's more about also my market. Maybe if you're working in the US, it's a completely different story. We don't have a clear offer. We kind of just pivoted more into using now strong value proposition, which at the end of the day is kind of the same. You're just communicating the value you can provide,
right,
making it a very sleazy offer in a way, and a lot of social proof.
Sure.
We're leaning towards those, and we've seen that the best campaigns that are booking us hundreds of meetings per month come always from those campaigns where we're leaning more towards having a lot of social proof and a strong enough value proposition and a unique mechanism. Not more about like the offers. They haven't performed us that well in the cold email campaigns where we are like, hey, we're going to generate you 100K in the next 12 months. Doesn't perform the same. So
okay,
with the offer, at the same time, I'm thinking like sometimes like if I would have an offer on top of this that is actually printing, that is actually good, we could even increase the results. So this is one of those things that I still don't even know. Just my perspective.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think like we're doing a similar kind of thing. It's not like we have like a kind of like headline offer that we're kind of running with. But I suppose probably more what I'm getting at is like the actual like your kind of value prop, like the services you're offering as part of working with Leadsify. Has that evolved over time? Or is it just very much just it's been cold email and it has been cold email the whole time? Are you adding other little bells and whistles on or anything like that?
We don't really talk about the mechanism at all right now. We don't really mention cold emails. It's a term that raises red flags in the market. I think it has evolved in a way that we are more sophisticated in the way we approach people. The way we are more sophisticated in the way we reach people is doing it in sub niches. I see a lot of people, let's say they target marketing agencies and they're targeting marketing agencies all with the same offers. And then they realize that in marketing agencies, there are web design agencies and creative agencies and video production agencies and TikTok agencies. And we've maybe sophisticated a little bit more in this where we are doing industry specific research industry-specific campaigns, and therefore when we reach out to a TikTok agency, it's going to be more specified for those, and it resonates more. And we don't need to have like a clear offer for them. We just need to communicate that, hey, I know you have these problems, and we can fix these and sell the outcome, and have a lot of social proof how we've done it before, and then generate interest. But I'm also starting to reflect now that you're asking these questions, if that's like, I feel like I don't know the answers. I just know my perspectives, and I feel like we've just evolved in how we do our own lead generation, which is more leaning towards very specific targets rather than having the strongest offer for a lot of people, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I completely understand what you're saying. That's great. And then just one last question. You kind of touched on it briefly about the kind of the balance between scaling vertically and horizontally. In like, as you've kind of gone through your journey, how have you sort of landed on the right balance for that? Is it a case of just kind of like going horizontally until it kind of systems start breaking down, and then kind of looking to like scale vertically when you've got more people on? Or is it a case of like testing it with a couple of clients and then trying to scale the vertical offer more horizontally? Like, any sort of insight or thoughts around that would be really useful.
Yeah, I think this is a lesson that we had to learn the hard way as well, where we scaled this pretty fast on a horizontal level, and we realized that we can't fix lead generation for all companies, which is not good enough. The companies we work with are not good enough. So we came back to kind of the conclusion that, okay, maybe we should scale them vertically. Maybe this is not operationally good enough to scale horizontally. And just clearly defining who you work with. I think for a long time, we were just trying to help everyone because we got a demand from everyone, and we were just kind of like, okay, well, there's something we can help with, but it's not the best way to go about it. Definitely not. And we're right now figuring out and completely revamping this again. And I feel like right now we have a pretty clear idea of who we want to be working with. We're only going to be working with one types of companies, clear ICP profile for ourselves, and we don't need to have that many clients. We need to have just good clients, and maybe 20 of those plus minus. So we went to like, we calculated actually yesterday that we have signed over like, I think 130 clients. And from those, not every single one has kept working with us. A lot of them has not. And we do have high churn, and in this industry, there's high churn. So we realized that how can we have these clients stay for longer is having less clients, have more quality for them, have a clear ICP who you're working with. So those are some lessons that I've had lately. I don't know if that answers your questions.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Thank you, mate.
My pleasure. Emmanuel, good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to see you as well, Kasper. And similar to what James was saying, amazing call, man, as well. I just had a couple questions following off from James. So like you kind of mentioned the power of value propositions instead of offers. So I wanted to ask you, like, do you still offer guarantees with your value propositions or not really?
Not really.
Cool. And a question, when you have more and more clients here, I feel like typically many people see a drop off of their client results just due to more clients and stuff. But like, what type of benchmark results do you kind of want to have for each client? Like, do you have a benchmark that says, hey, we need to get a minimum of these amount of calls each month or anything like that?
It's very hard to say right now. I would say it's so industry specific. Right now, we have a mix of so many different types of companies. I really want to go towards direction we only have one types of companies, so it would be easier to give me a benchmark. But in this stage where we have a lot of companies that we are working with, some software development, they only want 3 meetings a month, and they're going to be super happy and giving us a case study. And some that are marketing agencies, and they're like, oh, we're only booking 10 per week, and they want double that. So 80 meetings a month. And you're like, oh, it's hard to give benchmarks to these kind of companies. Yeah. So such a different variety of companies that we're working with. But that's the reason why we are going towards just working with one ICP. So we actually know what we need to get for them. We can replicate the process across all of them. And once again, I don't know if this is going to be the future. This is just what we're going to be trying next. So it might work. It might be the way, but at the same time, it might not. Maybe someone else here has cracked it and knows the answers better than I do.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. Perfect. And then one more final question. So, with you, I know it's kind of variable to each person, but what was like your first big hire that you did for yourself? So what's like the main first hire you'd recommend people to go into with cold email, essentially?
There's so many different stages. I felt so relieved personally once I've hired a closer. But I don't think you should hire a closer before 50K per month. Because you got to learn sales yourself. But once I did that, it was such a relief. But maybe that's because I had 200 meetings in my calendar. And I saw an empty calendar. And I was like, wow, this is it. Really? Can I have freedom? Wow.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like a massive milestone. But I don't have a closer anymore. And I'm back in the meetings. So I don't know. But in the beginning phase, it's definitely inbox manager. If you're in the inboxes right now, that's going to take a lot of time unless you have some sort of automated way to do that. But I don't know if there's a good enough way to automate that yet. Inbox management was the key one in the beginning.
Perfect. Sweet. And then final question. When you got your closer, what did you kind of replace? So obviously your account is freed up. What do you kind of replace that free time with now? Like, were you doing other operations or different stuff?
Good one. For a long time, I was figuring it out. I felt so valuable and important to the company when I was sitting in sales meetings, because I know that there's not another thing that I can really do that is more valuable to the company than closing deals and being in the meetings. Every single day, almost, I open up my phone calendar and I see 8 to 12 meetings in my calendar, and I know that it's one of those days again. After that got replaced, I was a little bit lost, to be honest. I didn't know what to do, where to even begin with, because I wasn't doing cold email copy. I wasn't touching operations. I wasn't doing inbox management. I wasn't setting up the accounts. I wasn't doing anything. And I was having a moment of Johannes in Tallinn where I see you smiling. It's like fulfillment is redacted and I don't do anything. I just think. And that was me. And I was just thinking. And just pretty much I delegated everything except leadership. And I was just having weekly meetings with my team. And also enjoying a little bit of time off because I know that I needed it. So I was spending more time on just recharging, experiencing life a little bit, feeling lost, these kind of things. So I didn't really figure it out. But I think after I hire my next closer and I'm back at that stage, I will have some lessons that I will implement. And I'm going to have a prioritization list for myself on things that I should work on and have clear timetables on work on this in the morning, work on this during the midday, work on this on the afternoon, kind of thing.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you for the answers, man. Fire answers.
My pleasure. I would love to get going. I feel like I'm warming up, but I really got to go now because I'm going to be late and my girlfriend is not going to be happy. So you guys don't want to see that happen. But yeah, anything else, boys? Maybe girls?
That was a great meeting. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah,
Thank you
just
guys
want to
for
also
showing up.
say thank you, man, Kasper, for a fucking killer call.
Thank you.
Uh,
Alrighty.
But yeah, as next steps, Kasper's gonna go. Thank you, Juan, for being here. For anyone who we were supposed to run the general steam room call, we are gonna do that for the rest of the hour, shut off the recording, and just if anyone has anything to talk for in there, that's gonna be the agenda. But yeah, fucking thank you a lot, Kasper. This is fucking amazing, at least in my opinion.
My pleasure. All right. Cheers, guys. I gotta go. Have a great rest of your week.
Take care, man.